Is it,
He's
are you
gonna,
gonna
he's
rip
gonna have
it
a
up,
souvenir.
or
Exactly.
burn it, or
It's
frame
gonna,
it?
you're gonna have like, yeah, it's gonna be in a ego wall, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Ego. Do you have an ego?
We need one of those, I guess. I don't know.
I have a, yeah, I don't know what you call it, an ego,
Okay.
basement.
All right, let's get started with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think we do the ceremony first, Todd.
That's fine.
Okay, let's do that first, then we'll do the roll call.
Is Jason here?
Yes, Jason is here. Jason, if you'll step forward, please, up here.
Jason Hagert, is that pronounced correct?
Heegert.
Sorry. Do you hereby solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Kansas and faithfully discharge the duties of council member for the city of Eskridge, so help you God?
I do.
Just need your signature.
And with that, I'd like to welcome Jason to the City of Eskridge Council, and I'd like to thank Justin for his 10,000-year plus service on the council.
It's a long sentence.
Appreciate everything you've done for you, Jason, and don't be surprised if somebody asks you a question down the road.
All right.
You could just go there and just
Switch. Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you. You too.
Transfer all the luck over, would you?
I think Brett should move over to you.
Thank you, Justin.
Yeah,
switch.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Justin.
Thank you all. Appreciate you all putting your faith in me for 12 years. So.
We all do.
Thank you so
Justin.
much.
Thanks.
We'll be talking to you.
All right. Take care.
Probably ought
If
to.
we could keep you, we would.
Hang on.
Yeah, he's been hiding.
Oh,
all this
yeah.
time.
When it gets controversial, he goes to his corner.
Scoots back. Out to
Yeah,
you.
let's get it out of the way. All right, you do roll call.
Have you watched them yet?
All right, guys, we're gonna do the roll call. Annie,
Here.
Michelle,
Here.
Brett, Jason, and Tim.
Present.
Okay, before we move on to the adopting the agenda, you, as the council members, need to vote for a new council president since Justin was the council president.
I'll move to make Tim
Council President.
council president.
Second that.
Here you go.
She wandered off.
Okay. Should we wait?
What's that thing? Is it on now? Is it?
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't have to
Annie,
say.
we're taking nominations for council president.
There's already been a nomination, made and seconded for Tim to be council president.
Okay. So we have a motion by Brett to nominate Tim as the new council president, seconded by Jason. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor? And those opposed?
I don't do it. You can say no. It doesn't matter. We put it down as abstain. Yeah. Which means it's a vote in favor.
Okay. And on the agenda, moving on to adopt the agenda, there are some things that need to be added to it that I'm aware of. If somebody else has anything to speak of.
I would like to move Ricky Williams up because he said he would like to be closer to the front. Is that still right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Move him up right before department report, under the first department report, or right above it.
Right above the first one, maybe.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
Did we
And
need,
then do we need an executive
do we need
session?
executive or not?
The executive session was originally scheduled to have an interview for Justin's benefit. To interview Barry Driggs a second time because Justin wasn't here the first time.
Mhm.
So do we need to do it for Jason? It becomes a question.
I wasn't
Well,
here the first
Annie
time
and
either.
Michelle weren't here either. It was just Tim and
You remember
you.
that? a different set of interviews probably, but
It was just the three of us for Barry the first time.
Really?
These three.
is he here?
He is
That's
Yes,
what I was
he is
told.
here tonight. If you want to do that, then yes, we can add that in there.
Yes.
Okay.
Where should we add that, Todd?
I mean, you guys control the agenda, so it could be,
Let's put it right under Ricky Williams.
he's right after public concerns.
Right.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay. Also want to add Mary Jane under new business. That's my request.
After Amy.
Put Mary Jane after Julie Bisnet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Guess that's the part I request.
Anything else?
And then I had the one guy that wanted to come in here and interview, and he had to go pick his brother up at the airport. If he can make it here, it'll be cutting it close, but I'd like to leave a spot in case he does make it here. So, we can put that down under continuing or whatever, put it at the bottom, I guess. If he makes it, he makes it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. So possibly another interview there.
Okay, is the council ready for that? Be after mayor concerns.
I'm happy to do an interview. We don't have his stuff, do we? Or do we?
He's going to be bringing it.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's fine. We can do it on the fly.
We'll add it after mayor and
I'm not
council
the only
concerns if
Person.
he is here by then. Did you get all that, Kelly?
Is that all of the changes?
That I'm aware of, yeah.
4. With those 4 changes, I move to adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the agenda with the changes that we discussed by Tim, seconded by Brett. Any further discussion? Those in favor? All
I move to
voted
approve
yes.
the minutes of October 23rd.
I have a correction.
I do too, unless you do.
It
It's the same one.
is the second page, second to last paragraph. It says B Kemp, and it's just changes Kimball.
Sorry, I will change that.
That was mine.
That was mine too. Anybody else?
I'll second.
No, it hasn't been, has a motion been made?
Yeah.
Tim?
Tim.
I move to approve with that correction.
I'll second.
Motion by Tim to approve with the correction of the spelling. And seconded by Brett. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Those opposed? Okay,
Oh, I didn't mean. Sorry, I'm a Deb abstain. I wasn't there and I didn't get a chance to watch. So, apologies.
it's okay.
You're forgiven.
Okay, and the appropriations.
I'll move to approve appropriation ordinance 1513.
It's the paper I just handed you. It looks different this time. Next time it'll be back to the
Oh, I don't
original.
mind.
Forgiven.
I want to bring something up about the appropriations report that I've been thinking about, and we'll discuss it in the future, but I want you guys to be aware of what I'm looking at.
What are you looking at, Terry?
Well, so I've got to find it since it's, you know where I'm looking.
Yeah, I think it's good.
It's on the front page. What's the name of that company?
It is, oh, you know what? I have it right here.
Give me cheating now. Hey. That's different attorney.
You're not on the front page, Todd. Don't worry.
Aromat.
Okay, it's on the, next to the last page. Airmac at the bottom.
Her mark.
Airmark,
Mhm.
okay. I'd like to discuss changing the way we do business with them and respect that. We're paying $85.17 per person monthly or every 2 weeks? I forgot already. What that
That
said.
is weekly.
Weekly. So 85.17 to clean their jeans. They have 11 pair of jeans. They clean the jeans themselves. And I'm going to suggest that we do away with that 85.17 charge.
They clean the
And-
jeans
and
themselves, as in the maintenance
they-
clean their own jeans.
They clean them.
So we're not using the service.
We're not using the service,
I
but
would ask if we could get a refund as well then.
are we under contract for a certain period of time?
I don't know.
I've requested a copy of the contract because I
Good.
don't have a current one, so.
Okay, good. Thank you. Ahead of me, step ahead of me. All right. My proposal will be instead of paying for uniforms that we're not getting cleaned, the only advantage to having them is that if their jeans are damaged, that they replace them for free.
Hmm.
Well, with that in mind, I'm going to suggest we do away with that 85.17 per person all year long and give them a yearly allowance for clothing. And that could purchase pants, it could purchase shirts, shoes, coat, whatever they need. And the allowance would, giving them an allowance to do that, maybe $200 a year, but that's something we need to think about and discuss at another council meeting. We get it on a agenda, okay?
Do we have to move to in this relationship?
Sounds like we need to find out about
Yeah,
the
we're
contract.
We're going to get
first.
the contract first and go from there and see what it says.
I have a question. I was a little unclear. Do you mean our employees are washing their own jeans?
Yes.
I was aware.
And I checked with Mike on, I didn't ask anybody else, but I did check with Mike and he said, no, we used to have shirts, but we did away with the shirts for one reason or another. All we've got now are jeans and we wash them ourselves. We keep the company in case our jeans get destroyed in the line of duty, and then they replace them for free. Well, I think we could save the city some money if we do away with that and give them an allowance, a clothing allowance. We can call it that, clothing allowance once a year. We'll figure out a date and all this other stuff and how much we'll pay them. And then if their jeans are destroyed or they destroy a shirt, whatever, then they've got a clothing allowance that can pay for that. Okay? So keep that in mind. That's the only thing I wanted to say about the ordinance, appropriation ordinance. So with that in mind, we'll take the motion if anybody wants to.
Was the motion and second both made? Okay.
Who made the motion?
Brett made the motion. Andy, did you second?
I don't think I actually did second it. No, but I will now. I read it. So I second.
All right. So the motion made by Brett to accept the appropriation ordinance as written, 1513, seconded by Annie. Any further discussion? It's a roll call vote. Annie,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
and Tim.
Yes.
Okay. All right. At this point, we're ready for public concerns. So who wants to go first?
All right, I'll go first.
Okay.
Wait a moment. I had asked to be put on the agenda because it might take more than 5 minutes because I've been cut off before at 5 minutes. So I wrote my questions down so that we could get through pretty fast, but I don't know, am I gonna be allowed to go over 5 minutes if it's?
Depends on what you're talking about, Dolly.
That's why I asked, why was I not, I requested to be put on the agenda and
You made that request on Sunday, yesterday, is that correct?
the Saturday or Sunday.
Okay, the email I got was dated Sunday. I just assumed that was the day that you made a request, but the request to be put on the agenda is supposed to be in by noon on Fridays.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's why you're not on the agenda at the moment, but
okay,
you can feel free to speak. We'll go from there.
all right. Let's see, I received a letter from you about the housing authority meetings that have been taking place. And I was wondering, I noticed the people that are on there, on that letter, and when were they put on the housing authority?
Well, they were put on in the very beginning of my term as mayor.
All of those people?
Hmm.
Was that recorded?
Yes,
I would like to see that recording or the minutes from the meeting, please.
you have the ability to come in and do that, and you can
That'd
look
be
up
fine.
the recordings on the internet too.
Yeah, I can just do it should be in the minutes.
It should be in the minutes, yeah.
All right, because And then have you been having meetings with them without notifying me?
We have not had any meetings. This is the first one we've had since I became mayor. This will be the first one that we've had.
My question is why has that not been resolved? We don't have any need for a housing authority.
Because there were some issues of concern that had to get looked at first.
Okay,
And that's what we're going to discuss on the 28th.
well, I know that you wanted me to bring some things to this meeting. I would like to ask you right now what your concerns are so that I know what to bring. The paperwork that you asked for was in Connie Kemp's possession. She told me that she took it down to the apartments when we sold them. So I do not have any of those. I did nothing. About the only thing I did was sign checks or use my credit card to pay for bills when the people up north wouldn't pay for them, and then I was reimbursed. So I don't have anything except for bank statements, which I turned over to you guys already. So
My only concern with that, Dolly, is you were asked on 3 separate occasions between January and March of 2022 to bring those statements in from the
I don't
housing
remember
authority.
being asked.
And you ignored me the first 2 times.
I don't remember
And the
being
third
asked.
time you were asked, your comment was, if you want those receipts, you go down to the Eskridge
Yeah.
Housing Authority and ask those people. Do you remember that?
No,
You don't remember saying that?
No.
Anyway, that's what
but
you
anyway, I
said.
told you where they were. If you wanted them, you should have went and got them. I
No,
was
it's not.
out of it.
You don't understand. I'll tell you again, Dolly. You were told in early 2022, even by Todd, and said, yeah, the year I took over as mayor. Even Todd told you that those documents belong to the city of Eskridge. They don't belong to the people that bought the place, and they don't belong to you or any other member of the Eskridge Housing Authority. And that's why you were asked to bring them in. And like I said, you ignored me twice, and you ignored the third request by telling that person that if we wanted them, then we need to go down and see the people that bought the place, and they could turn them into us. So I don't know what to tell you. If you don't have the receipts, the statements and things of this nature, then I might have a problem in the future if some authority needs to come in and investigate what's going on, because they don't have receipts to back up any of the information that I've got questions about on November 28th. And with that in mind, the best you can do is come to the meeting on November 28th and answer what questions I can to the best of your ability. The questions I ask, just answer them the best that you can, and we'll take it from there.
And so, and also these people that were bought, you said that the council approved of these people. You brought them to the council and I knew about this because all of those people, I wouldn't have approved of a couple of them.
But you don't have a say-so as to who I appoint to the council, to the board meeting
Actually,
anyway.
you're supposed to present it to the council and the council's supposed to approve them. And there's several of the council that don't remember ever doing that. So I will have to look at the minutes and probably the video so I can find what date it was. Also, can you remember the date that you asked me for those paperwork so that I can look up in the video and see if that was actually done?
Well, probably the 24th of January when we had a meeting, the night you turned in the money for selling the apartments. If it wasn't that meeting, then it would be the first one in February.
2022?
Yes.
Okay. Well, all I can tell you is that when we sold it, I thought that this would be resolved. I didn't want to have anything more to do with it since I had no help from anybody, on the council here. And Connie was a very good steward of that, and she told you where it was at. So I suppose she expected you to go get it. There was quite a few records and stuff that needed to be picked up. Physically, I couldn't do that myself. So it would have been nice if you would have said
It'd been
something
nice
down
if you
there
would
to
have,
pick them
it
up.
would have been nice if you'd made that clear rather than ignoring my
You should have
request.
known that, me walking around with a cane and stuff.
No, I
like
shouldn't have
that.
known that. I shouldn't have known that. Did you know that I have leukemia?
Yeah.
You can't tell by looking at me. How did you find that out?
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So my point is, I can't look at you and tell you if you're healthy or not healthy enough to do it.
At the time, it would have been 72. It's not an appropriate thing to ask a lady that of that age. You should have gone and gotten them. if
No,
you
I
wanted
shouldn't have,
them.
Dolly. You should have turned them in as business was being conducted. That was the right thing to do.
Business was done.
The receipts belong to the city of Eskridge. They don't belong to the people that bought the property. If you sold your grocery store, you're not gonna leave all your receipts in them for the new owner.
No, I would burn 'em.
Well, that's your prerogative.
Except for the last 7 years or something like that. where
Well,
they're-
so the last 7 years, so I need the last 7 years of the Eskridge Housing Authority paperwork. And that was your responsibility to turn it in, plain and simple. I don't think we're gonna carry this out any further. We're gonna end the conversation here. Just come in on the 28th of November and I'll ask questions of what I have concerns about, and I'd like you to try to.
And at the time when you expressed these concerns in an executive session that you later found out that you couldn't do, you can't talk about private citizens in executive sessions.
Oh, don't answer that question.
Then
There's
why-
no discussion about what occurred in executive session, in open session.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, you can't go into an executive session and talk about me. And so how would I know what you wanted and didn't want?
You
I
said-
don't really remember that, Terry.
You
You're
said you-
asking for that.
You say anything about us going into an executive session to talk about you?
Well, do you remember when I, no, never mind. I'm not going to get into the weeds on that. Let's see. Got that one done. There
Well,
we go. And so you
we're
haven't
at
had
eight-
any meetings with,
We're at 8 minutes now. If the rest of your questions are involving the Eskridge Housing Authority, you can address them on the 28th when we have our meeting.
okay, and I do take this personally. I feel like you are personally insulting me and accusing me of something after all the years of service that I've done for the city.
No, I'm not accusing you of anything.
Really?
I'm not accusing you. Did that letter say I was accusing you of
The
anything?
tone of the letter was accusatory, in my opinion.
All it said, I'm not getting into it. We're done with it. It can be, it's an interpretation by whoever you've shown the letter to. They can read it the way they want to. But it says alleged, which means I don't know. I need to know the answers.
Well, I would have liked to have had this meeting on a city council meeting because I would like the city council people there.
Well, they can be here. It's an open meeting to the public and it will be on the camera. So anybody can watch it if they can't make the meeting. They're more than welcome to be here.
Okay, now we're going to 9 minutes, so you can be done with me.
All right. So we'll see you on the 28th November. Is there anybody else?
Basically needed to know so that I could tell my lawyer what you were looking for.
Well, have
I'll
him-
tell him that you're looking for the invoices and stuff like that. Hopefully
and
they're
the
still in
statements.
the medicine room.
All the invoices and statements that you have for Eskridge Housing Authority.
If I find them, I hope you will send somebody down there. I'll go down there with you.
If they locate them, I'll be more than happy to go down there.
I don't want you to do it, Terry. Have somebody
I
else do
appreciate
it.
that too, because it is your responsibility to get them turned in. So let's move on. Anybody else have anything under comments? Okay. Okay, Ricky Williams.
Yes, sir. What do y'all want me? In the corner back here?
No, I'd like you up here where you can address the audience as well.
corner.
Hey, thank you. Sorry to move everybody. Up here?
Yeah, you're fine.
Oh, okay.
That way everybody can hear you. To see who you are.
I hate to talk to anybody's back, and I don't want to put my back to anybody. All right, good evening. Ricky Williams. How is everybody?
Good, thank you.
Excited.
Excited. Okay, good. Actually, I am too. Main purpose, and I spoke with this gentleman as he was going door to door, is I have a concern about law enforcement here in the city of Eskridge. And I'm not just talking about the county, okay? I spoke with Sheriff Hoskins about the potential for me working approximately 10 hours a week just dedicated to the city of Eskridge. Now you have to bear in mind that if the city continues the way it does, I mean, I can't stay down here all the time and I can't dedicate hours on end just to the city of Eskridge simply because I live here. And by the way, I do. Okay. A lot of people know me as the cop that lives in Eskridge. Okay. the relationship would have to be mutually beneficial to the city of Eskridge and the Wabunsee County Sheriff's Office. Okay. The city would have to make a decision whether they're going to get a patrol vehicle or you're going to have a memorandum of understanding with the sheriff's office. Okay. Because you can't expect, just because I live here in Eskridge, for Sheriff Hoskins to just let the wear and tear, the tires, the oil changes, and the fuel just come out of the county's budget. Okay, so what I'm telling you is you can't expect law enforcement to be free. Generally, each municipality in the state of Kansas, it's approximately 9.6% of their annual budget. So I need you to think about that. Okay, that is simply for a part-time law enforcement agency. The city of Eskridge has an ORI. Does anybody know what that acronym is? Okay, it's a law enforcement acronym. Every functioning agency in the state of Kansas has an ORI. The reports that are generated that are reportable to the Kansas Bureau of Investigation or higher are all recorded under that ORI. Okay. In the Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, I could do the reports, do the arrests, do the enforcement activity under Wabunsee County Sheriff's Office, just like I have the option of doing in the city of Maple Hill. Okay, because currently I am a deputy marshal for the city of Maple Hill. Okay. Honestly, I would rather devote my free time to where I live. And I want to propose to the city that we get serious about law enforcement, because I do my best, but I also have Harveyville, Alta Vista, Alma, Lake Wabunsee, Wabunsee Township, Paxico, Maple Hill, and everywhere in between. And believe it or not, I mean, before you knock the sheriff's office, we get pulled to Interstate 70 a lot. Because Kansas Highway Patrol, just like every other agency, they have a shortage of manpower. Okay. So with all that said, technical difficulties is one reason. Another reason, I want to find out what the city wants to do. And what I will do is I will present that to the sheriff, because he has to bless off on it. Okay, because first and foremost, my duty is to the entire county. But I would like to be able to devote 40 hours a month maximum to the city of Eskridge. That's what I would like to do. Okay. It can't be just a simple agreement. We're going to pay you this hourly wage. There has to be consideration for it helping the sheriff's office as well. Okay. Because that patrol vehicle is not free. My uniforms are not free. And gasoline certainly ain't free. Okay. So I just wanted to take a couple of minutes and give you the opportunity to tell me what you want. Yes, ma'am.
If it's not you that falls underneath the 440, is there another officer that would be able to take up your slack?
That I don't have an answer for. But the consideration with that, if the city comes up with a MOU with the sheriff's office and opens it up to other deputies, that's fine. But what I'm proposing is me, because you have somebody that lives here. Anybody can contract out for somebody that doesn't know the citizens. And I can think of at least a couple of crimes here in Eskridge that it helped to have a relationship with the people of this community. And there may be other deputies that are willing, but you won't be getting somebody that lives here in Eskridge. And me personally, I think that's important. And I think I bring that to the table. In April, I will have been here 3 years. All right. I'm not looking to move, but at the same time, I want us to have a forward momentum. I want us to be able to encourage folks to invest in the downtown area. I mean, I'm excited to see these buildings, but I checked them the other morning to make sure there wasn't anybody shacked up in them because they're unlocked, you know, so you can look and see what you're buying. But we're not going to have business that will invest here if they're worried about everything getting stolen. So I hope I answered your question. I wasn't trying to be too lengthy.
No, I just had a question.
That's it was a good question. Yes, sir.
So you only work 40 hours a week, right?
No, 40 hours a month.
No, well, but for the county.
For the county, it's 40 plus.
Okay, so you're willing to offer the 10 hours.
On my,
How would you split up those 10 hours? Like, we talking like a couple hours, you know, here and there throughout the week? Are we talking 5 hours Saturday and 5 hours Sunday?
it won't be any set day.
Okay.
But it will also be in the hours of darkness.
Okay.
Because when I work in Maple Hill, I don't go there from 8 in the morning until noon. Because what criminals are running around 8 until noon. I mean, I honestly, I want to be out, you know, during the hours of darkness. And I see it when I'm able to come down here. People leave. Maybe they don't want to meet me. I don't know. I think I'm kind of a nice guy. All right.
Would these be classified as overtime hours?
They would be that whatever hours would be paid by the city of Eskridge.
Okay.
So it would be on my off time.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be like you having a second job.
It would be like me having a third job. Yes. But at the same time, there has to be a decent agreement because I do have a commitment to the citizens of Maple Hill.
What does Maple Hill pay you?
Maple
Or how
Hill,
do they pay you?
they pay me. It's bi-weekly. Well, not bi-weekly. It's twice a month for the hours I work. And
Do you roughly put probably about 10 hours in there, more, less?
Last night I put in 3 hours, but that's also after coming off of
Right.
a 12-hour shift for the county. You know, I'm not Superman.
I guess it's kind of a question. I mean, if you already got 10 hours a week with them, I mean, you're going to be able to tack on another 10. That's going to put you at.
I would like to devote the hours here.
I think he would like to switch from putting in his hours in
Okay.
Maple Hill to putting them in his town
You
here.
to be done with them. Allow somebody else
Yes.
to take that over.
Yes, sir.
So, who does Maple Hill pay? Do they pay you or do they pay the SO?
They pay me. Now, Maple Hill has a chief of police. He's the Maple Hill City Marshal, and he has, I think, 6 deputy marshals under him.
Do they own a vehicle?
The city owns the vehicle, yes, sir. And they purchased a used highway patrol vehicle, and they pay the insurance on it, the upkeep, and all that, and that's all run through the city. And he also and whenever there's a meeting, there would be a law enforcement portion, and he gives a status update for what happened. You know, if it's twice a month, whatever happened in those 2 weeks, he would make a report to whatever citizens are there and the council.
So is that Officer Kirsch?
That's our undersheriff, Eric Kirsch.
So
Yes,
he
sir.
puts in his part-time hours there.
He puts
as
his
a-
part-time hours in there.
is it something that the sheriff's department would lease out a vehicle for those hours a month?
I don't,
Possibly?
I mean, I can
For
ask,
use?
I can ask the sheriff that.
And how much they would charge us per month to do that for those hours?
Do we not have our truck anymore?
I think we reduced that down to it pretty much was gone and we would need to replace it.
The engine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Somebody put something in it.
Oh, welcome.
Got thirsty.
Yeah, a used highway patrol vehicle. Has anybody ever used Blue Wave or been on there and priced?
I think the last one that was brought to us was like a black Charger, and it was like 19 to 24,000 or something.
Mm-hmm. But you figure the number of miles put on would not be that high, you know, because at the last meeting I came to, you guys were considering hiring somebody. And she was even willing to patrol on foot, but it's kind of, I mean, honestly, I mean, I'm not in horrible shape, but I don't really want to run from DRB Express over to the apartments for a domestic trying to talk on the radio at the same time, you know, or on a bicycle, you know. I would suggest you look at patrol vehicles from the Highway Patrol and Blue Wave and see if it's something doable.
So then you would suggest us getting our own vehicle or looking to partner with the county and letting them and compensating them for?
All right, just for figure's sake, if you're going to compensate the sheriff's office for the use of my patrol vehicle, I would suggest $250 a month, $250 to $500. Okay. And that would make it beneficial to the county.
Deputy Ricky, back when I researched a lot of this, the Highway Patrol had at that time, and I hope they still have it, someone clued me in that the Highway Patrol offered their vehicles, their turnover vehicles to smaller communities, and I looked into it, could have got one for $5,000.
Okay.
And but at that time, we didn't have a cooperative council that wanted to do that.
Well, everybody has different opinions.
Yes, I do.
And that's what, you know, that's one thing that makes us unique and precious and valuable is we all have differing opinions. But, you know, I feel like as Americans, we may disagree, but it doesn't mean we hate the other person or anything like that. I mean, we disagree all the time and we come to some resolution and we move on.
Well, to be very frank, people talk about they like this as a bedroom community because we do have, you know, we have a little grocery store, we have lumber yard, we have a gas station. They don't want to live in the bigger cities. They want to live here.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is that I always had to say no to them is, do you have law? And I said, we got the county law. They would ask that question. And that made a difference whether they came here or not.
And I get it.
I find you what you're saying now and offering is great.
And my family currently, we're in the process of getting them back home, which is here. I'd like to know that we have a law enforcement presence here, you know, for my family, you know, as you do yours.
Well, I can't put in any more security cameras, sir.
So let me ask
What
you
are
a
you
question.
proposing per hour?
That's what I say. How much?
I would, okay. He'd ask, what am I proposing an hour? I propose at least $22 an hour. Okay. And I also take into consideration the annual budget of Eskridge. Okay. I just simply want to see dedicated law enforcement here. So I mean, I would accept 22, but there also has to be an agreement. What are we going to do to reimburse the sheriff's office for the use of the vehicle and equipment?
That's what I was going to ask you about the 250 to 500. Did that include your wages?
That didn't.
So your wages are in addition to the 250 upwards to 500 that the
Yeah.
county might charge us for the vehicle.
I did figure real quick. Just so everybody can maybe get a better mental picture. Okay. At $23 an hour, maximum of 12 hours a week, that comes out to $276 a week. Now, this is just wages. All right. If you do maximum 48 hours a month, that comes out to $1,104. That's just wages. All right. Just for figure speak, to make it easy to figure, if you pay the sheriff's office $500 a month for the equipment, that's going to be
6,000 a year.
Thank you. I was drawing a blank. All right. I hate math. All right. Honestly, I had to get a tutor to help me get through that part of my college.
Now you said 48 hours. Is that 48 or 40?
I figured it at 48.
Okay.
I was just giving y'all some
Sure.
figures to think about.
Okay.
If you do 10 hours a week, $22 an hour, that's $220. Okay. And then that would be $840 a month. Okay. But then you also have to realize, what would we pay for the equipment? You're not going to get a patrol vehicle, body armor, radio. I mean, radios, you're talking 3,500 easy. And then making sure it works with the current system.
Right.
So if the city were to just say, well, we're going to just purchase our car, let's say 15 grand, you still have to get a radio and you have to make sure that that car is outfitted.
Camera.
So I'm sorry.
Camera.
Body cams. Body cams are not cheap. I do know that, our body cams are very reliable and good. So that's why I wanted to propose just me, the equipment I have, but what are we going to propose to the sheriff's office?
So the sheriff is kind of giving you the go ahead to come and talk with us.
He did.
Are these numbers off the top of your head or off the top of his?
These are numbers that I'm proposing to y'all off the top of my head. The sheriff has not come up with any.
Okay, so you think you'd accept between 250 to 500 potentially?
The worst he could say is no.
Do you know if he would be willing to let you use your service firearm in this?
That would also be included in that.
Okay.
Because if I go under the authority of the sheriff's office, that means whatever liability insurance the city would have to have is covered under whatever the county has, because that's important too.
We wouldn't have to have the insurance on the vehicle. We wouldn't have to have your insurance. That
Exactly.
would all cover underneath the sheriff's department, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, no.
Okay,
You're making the lawyer pucker.
that's
I
what
mean,
I'm
a lot of
asking.
this is just about, if you're exploring options, I completely understand, go full hog here, but there's a lot of stuff going on in the margins here that don't exactly make sense to me. I mean, I've seen it, and it's been done a lot of places where the sheriff will kind of subcontract with the city, have a county officer come out with county equipment under county authority, and there is some payment arrangement whereby the city gets the benefit of police coverage that's over and above what they normally get for that price, but it's essentially very limited as far as what is charged to. I mean, the city is paying money, but the county's doing a lot of the work in the processing of tickets and stuff like that. So it's not a bad deal. I mean, it is what it is, people. But that covers that area of insurance. It covers car, it covers everything that you're worried about. It's a turnkey operation for the city. All it has to do is pay the dollars and cents on the contract to the sheriff every month, and then he pays the officer or officers and all that stuff. That's what I've seen. I haven't ever seen a city officer who I've seen county officers who are also work for the city as a city employee, take off the shirt, put on the city shirt, go in the city car, all city, insured, paid, but and the sheriff doesn't have anything to say about that except as long as your hours don't compete with his, you're fine. But you're kind of got a hybrid going here that I haven't ever heard of before, which is that you use a vehicle, but we would pay you as an employee, which means that we still have insurance liability, probably. But
And that would be something to, I guess,
Yeah.
research.
yeah, and I'm just saying none of this stuff is out of the realm of possibility. It's just you can't easily kind of lead past these things if you don't catch them now instead of
And when I worked for Dickinson County Sheriff's, I have almost 8 years experience as a law enforcement officer. When I worked for Dickinson County, we had the city of Solomon government to work for. We had Enterprise, and they both had their own city attorneys. So we had to and Hope, and we had to juggle 4 ticket books and 4 court dates and 4 different fine schedules. And I would not want to do that here. Okay. So, I know in Maple Hill, it's mainly processed through the district court when we talk about the legal aspect.
and that's why if you guys understand that there's no municipal court, there's no municipal fines, there's no money that comes in from that aspect of it. It goes to the county courts. And all you are benefiting from it is having the presence.
And ultimately, that's what I wanted to present here tonight. Just think about it. Think about what the city wants to do. I'm willing. All right. Any other questions before I go?
Thank you.
The research that we did before, you guys get paid by a mill levy, which is property tax.
Okay.
And that's not a problem. Justin did the math, and it would have been nice for you still here. He did the math on how much it would be on a $30,000 house and a $100,000 house. And it was like $125 a year, not a month. And when people talk to me, they'd ask me, so it'd be $30 a month then? And I go, no, it'd be $30 a year on the mill levy. So we have to make sure that people, well, that's for depending on what it is now. It's probably a little bit more expensive now. I would think taxes have gone up. But that's what the clerk up there in Elma, she's real good at figuring that stuff out.
Okay.
Would
And
you
then
be able
people-
to talk to Rob about insurance on the vehicle and see if that's, maybe they can check in with the insurance agent and make sure that's not an issue we'd run into?
You mean the city having liability for a county vehicle operating here?
Right.
Is that the question?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the issue probably is, again, I think we all know the answer if we do what you're talking a little bit about, that the county does most everything. We just pay the county to do it, and everything's run like, and you don't have another ticket book, you don't have an Eskridge ticket book, you don't have Eskridge court, you just have county court. And then something different where once you start putting the city of Eskridge, you in an Eskridge car, you in an Eskridge, with the radio and all that stuff, then that's a different story. And I don't know if the sheriff has a halfway solution too, maybe.
Yeah.
That gets us in the car and everything, and he's okay with that, then I'm all ears.
Okay.
Tom, I have a question for you. Was your worry then, so if we're paying him hours, but then we're having this contract with the county, my thought was if something happened where whoever's involved, if you say you're making an arrest, something happens, they go to sue you, are you worried the city becoming liable because it was on the hours we were paying?
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of my thought.
Is there a county or a city that's set up like this anywhere else?
The only one I can reference would be Maple Hill.
Okay.
If you know,
And they have their own police force, though.
yes. Now I don't know the nuts and bolts of what insurance riders they have and different stuff like that to operate their city police department, but it's a part-time agency.
Okay.
And it probably wouldn't be hard
They're
to.
all part-time, like he would put in hours.
Right.
And
Well, it might be worthwhile to figure out how theirs is set up, because that might give us an idea of
Mhm.
what we need to look at or if it would work for us.
He has come and talked to us before.
Mm.
It's a little different, actually. It's kind of a
Yeah.
hybrid of his own, really,
Mhm.
from what I remember. Because it's a little different.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
I know.
I'm sorry.
willing to buy equipment.
Riley County set up, they just have one county police patrolling all the town.
Mhm.
This is a little bit different, but could you just patrol Eskridge as a Wabunsee County Sheriff and then pay for extra time here in town?
We have talked about that. I do think some of that budgetary wise might have been out of our scope.
We did that with Sam.
Didn't Rob come in? Yeah.
We
So-
paid overtime hours for Sam. And that's all we had to pay was overtime hours. We didn't have to pay for the vehicle use or whatever.
Now, how long ago? Because I know Sam. How many years ago was he the Eskridge City Marshal?
More than 6.
More than 6? Okay.
No.
No.
No, just.
That's
No,
all I
it was
was.
during Dolly's term as
Yeah,
mayor.
I asked him
So
if he wanted
for-
to work and he didn't want to work for us.
He used our vehicle at that time.
Probably.
I don't remember.
Yeah, because that vehicle
Nah,
had
that
until
did.
they dumped stuff in it.
Right. I mean, it was a few years ago.
Did your question get answered? All right. Anyone else?
And then Todd, in the contract with the county, if they agree to take liability, would that free the city?
Well, I think that there's probably a contract answer to a lot of this.
Okay.
It's just I haven't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard for me to
Okay.
summon it whole out of just a conversation.
Mhm.
All I can say is, I mean, I've seen the contracts that have kind of the full county doing just about everything except city just pays money. That's all that happens.
Yeah.
See, that's easy to understand. It's just this kind of, when you move between the two, it gets a little bit more questionable.
When I last spoke with Rob, he said it would be $35 an hour, and they took care of everything: the vehicle, the officer, the insurance, the retirement, vacation time, the equipment, like you were talking about with the cameras and vehicle and things of this nature. However, it was overtime hours for officers that were off duty that volunteered to use their time to come down here.
Mhm.
And even if it was 10 hours a week, we wouldn't know what hours they would be here. We wouldn't necessarily have the same officer week, hour after hour, week after week either.
Yeah.
And I gather that's what you're proposing, is that we go with you, that we've got the same officer, which has its advantages.
And I was simply trying to come up with a solution to help the city.
Right, right.
For what it's worth, I appreciate the idea that you're not going to be on a set schedule.
Definitely.
In nighttime.
All right. Anything else? Or am I done?
We're going to do
You're
it.
good.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
I will get those questions. Honestly, I don't know about leasing a vehicle from the SO. But if y'all can come up with a no headache solution, I'm willing to help. Okay? All right. God bless y'all.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Anytime.
I'm gonna go into executive session for an interview.
Say it so
Second.
quiet.
So it's a motion to go into executive session for personnel. I don't like personnel matters for 15 minutes.
Start there.
Who's present? Just council and mayor? And the applicant. He's the applicant, right?
Yeah, I'll go tell them.
We're gonna
Okay, what's the, what?
we gotta vote, I know.
Yeah, we got a motion and we did second.
I seconded that.
Motion to go into executive session for personnel matters by Brett, seconded by Tim for 15 minutes. Those in favor?
We're interviewing somebody, trying not to keep them all day.
Well, we got time, 15 minutes.
I'll be
Go
back
back in.
in.
I thought it was at the beginning.
I will be too.
You're still practicing law.
No, she's retired.
I'm still gonna pick her brain. And she was with legalist.
Yes.
She knows all that stuff. She knows about HUD and overreach, stuff like that.